think the authority of the father comes in the form of, you're one of the first teachers of faith for your children, along with your wife. And so, keeping them in the realm of there's four ordinary means of protection: a faith life, a prayer life, a moral life, a sacramental life. So engendering faith in the family, engendering a prayer life in the family, engendering a sacramental life in the family, involving them in the church. And then a moral life in terms of the order that God has prescribed for us in order for us to live satisfying, meaningful, fruitful lives. So it's really about, how do we avoid sin? How do we stay in the grace of God? So how do we treat each other? How honorable are we? How do we live a virtuous life? I think that's where the authority of the father comes in. I don't think it's the role of the father, for example, that I can't say, for example, that a parent couldn't say, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, if there be anything of a satanic nature in my home, I demand you leave. I think a father can demand that. But I do think there is something about the authority of the church that is higher than the authority of parenting. On the other hand, in the ritual of baptism, it clearly says, for the parents, you are the first teachers of faith for your children. So there is a certain spiritual authority that parents have, But I think learning in the form of example and being able to set a tone for, the upbringing of children in the faith.
Yeah. So it's living a pious life, Father, and always having in the state of grace.
Yes. Yeah, I think that the authority of the father comes down to the example, just like the authority of the mother. And I think together, jointly, especially if they're married to each other, they're partners in, just like Jesus didn't send the apostles out by themselves, he sent them out in pairs.